Hair loss, or alopecia, may sound like an issue that middle-aged or older men are paying attention to, but not anymore. In Korea now, men in their 20s and 30s have emerged as the main demographic that consumes anti-hair loss products or visits hair treatment clinics. Women are not free from the problem either. Many Korean women suffer from hair loss caused mostly by stress. Losing hair is now an issue affecting a wide range of adults in Korea, regardless of sex or age. According to one statistic, about 10 million Koreans, which accounts for 1/5 of the nation's total population, are currently or potentially suffering from the problem. Traditionally, baldness was thought to be hereditary, mostly affecting men. But now, on top of genetic factors, other elements such as stress and environmental pollution are also known to be main causes. One more factor is Koreans changing dietary habits that have been westernized in recent years. Dermatologists point out that less intake of vegetables and more consumption of processed and acidic foods are responsible for the younger generation's hair loss. These younger generations, who are more conscious of appearance than older people, are increasing the size of the anti-hair loss market. And we are witnessing rollouts of increasingly diversified products and services that proclaim to slow the process of hair loss. The advice from doctors is simple and somewhat predictable. Quit drinking and smoking. Cut down on greasy food consumption. Eat more vegetables. Reduce stress and sleep well at night, etc. We all know about these basics, not only for preventing hair loss, but for also living a healthier life in general, which are easy to understand but hard to put into action. Humans shed hair every day and replace them with new ones. However, if you lose more than 100 hairs a day, you may have alopecia. So I said humans shed hair every day. To shed hair means to lose it. So humans shed, dogs shed hair. So when we lose hair, we say to shed. And then if you lose more than 100 hairs a day, you may have alopecia. Alopecia is the medical term for baldness. It can be complete baldness or partial baldness, but if you're losing hair on your head, that is alopecia. Losing over 100 follicles of hair a day can be a sign that you are going bald. Losing more than the average amount of hairs each day can be a problem. So before we said losing 100 strands of hair, but this time I said follicles. A follicle is another term for hair. So you can have one follicle of hair, two follicles, three follicles, four follicles. So follicles are strands of hair anywhere on the body. Due to hormonal changes and stress, women are experiencing bald patches on their scalp. Half of all reported cases of baldness are women. So I said due to hormonal changes. So everyone has hormones, but women undergo different hormonal changes, and these hormones are related to estrogen, testosterone, and one called DHT, which is dihydrotestosterone. So these hormonal changes in women can cause women to go bald. About half of spot baldness cases that have been reported are from women. Doctors attribute this to stress and hormonal issues. So we've talked about baldness, but we also want to talk about spot baldness. Spot baldness can be a bald spot, not necessarily on the top of your head, but it could be on the side, it could be in the front, it could be anywhere on your head. We call that spot baldness. More and more younger men have been reporting going bald. This used to be a problem traditionally reserved for older men. Men in their 20s and 30s are diagnosed with alopecia, which used to be just a problem for men who are much older. One thing I want to point out is when I say, men in their 20s and 30s, a lot of times I hear Koreans make this mistake when describing an age range. So when you're talking about age ranges, you want to always put like a possessive in there. So for example, when I was in my teens, I played basketball. Or the men in their 50s and 60s tend to buy nicer cars. So we always put in a he, a she, their, or my when talking about an age range. So men in their 20s and 30s are diagnosed with alopecia. So we use always a personal possessive before an age range. The general thought was that baldness was passed down from generation to generation. Along with DNA, artificial factors such as pollution and toxins that enter our bodies are also reasons for hair loss. So I said passed down from generation to generation. That means like your grandfather passed down baldness to your father, thus passing down to a son. So we say passed down from generation to generation means it came from your ancestors. And then we talked about artificial factors such as pollution and toxins that enter our bodies. So toxins can be anything from like pesticides or fertilizer chemicals that are used on vegetables. Also, one is called BPA. It's a chemical that's found inside canned foods. Those are things that are considered toxins. Baldness can be attributed to diet, stress, and environmental factors. It's not only blamed on the person's family genetics. So blaming someone on family genetics, that's what we say, our DNA, or our what we get from our fathers and mothers. Those are what we call family genetics. To prevent hair loss, you need to cut or stop consuming alcohol and smoking, eat less greasy foods, relax, and try to get a good night's rest. Sleep, healthy eating, abstaining from alcohol and tobacco are the best ways to stave off baldness. So I said abstaining from alcohol and tobacco. To abstain from something means you do not do it. So to abstain from alcohol means to stop drinking. And the best way to stave off baldness, to stave off something is to kind of prevent something from happening. So if you stop all these unhealthy habits, you have a better chance of not going bald. So you're staving off the baldness by being healthy. Thanks, guys. Thanks for downloading. Bye-bye.